Ghost was supposed to be gone forever, right? Shot down, buried, his story ended in Power Season 6. But what if that wasn't the end? What if the man everyone thought was dead is closer to returning than ever before? Omari Hardwick, the actor who brought Ghost to life, has been linked to new contract talks, and whispers across the Power universe hint at a shocking comeback. Could it be that Ghost's return is finally happening in Power Book 4 Season 3, or maybe even in a brand new origin story? Fans have been waiting for answers, and now those rumors are louder than ever. When Power ended with Ghost's death, it left the audience divided. On one side, there were fans who accepted his fate, believing that his tragic downfall was the natural ending for a man who lived a double life for so long. On the other side, there were countless voices that refused to believe it was the last we would ever see of him. After all, Ghost wasn't just another character. He was the foundation of the Power universe. James St. Patrick wasn't just a man, he was a symbol of ambition, deception, and survival. For years, he played both sides of the game, wearing a tailored suit in the boardroom and commanding fear on the streets. To watch him collapse in Truth nightclub was shocking, but many fans felt it was too sudden, too final, almost unfinished. The thing about television deaths is that not all of them stick. Viewers know that writers love twists, and Power has always thrived on shocking moments. Ghost's death sparked endless debates on forums, podcasts, and social media. Some fans swore he was killed for good, pointing to his funeral scene and the focus on Tariq's journey afterward. Others argued that until they saw a body being lowered into the ground, there was still a chance. And then came Omari Hardwick's own interviews, where he teased the possibility of a return, even if just for a flashback or special episode. Every word he said only fueled speculation, keeping Ghost alive in the minds of millions, even after his supposed death. Ghost's presence never fully left the show. His name echoed in almost every spin-off. His choices haunted his family, and his legend shaped the world around Tommy, Tariq, and others. This constant shadow made it feel like Ghost was still pulling strings, even from the grave. When a character has this much influence after their exit, fans naturally wonder if the story really ended. Could it be that the creators always intended to bring him back in some form? Or are they keeping him alive only through memories and mentions, using him as the eternal ghost of the series? But here's where it gets more interesting. Behind the scenes, Omari Hardwick has been one of the most asked about actors in interviews with the cast and creators. Fans constantly demand to know if he will return, and the responses have never been direct. Sometimes it's laughter, sometimes it's never say never, and sometimes it's silence that speaks louder than words. In a world where contracts can shift storylines and audience demand can revive characters, Ghost's return isn't impossible. It's all about timing, story direction, and the willingness of both the actor and the network to make it happen. That brings us to the present moment. With Power Book 4 heading into its third season, Tommy's storyline has grown darker and more dangerous. He's carving out his empire in Chicago, but fans know his connection with Ghost runs too deep to be ignored. Tommy has been haunted by the loss of his brother, both emotionally and in terms of the choices he makes. If Ghost were to resurface, alive or in some unexpected form, it would shake Tommy's entire world. That possibility, combined with talk of Omari's new contract negotiations, is exactly why people are buzzing again. Is this the right time to reintroduce Ghost? Or are the showrunners playing with fan expectations, keeping his name alive without ever actually bringing him back? In the world of television, contracts are as dramatic as the stories themselves. When an actor signs, renews, or even hints at new deals, it sends shockwaves through the fan base because behind every signature is a potential twist waiting to be written. That's exactly what has happened with Omari Hardwick. Over the past few months, rumors have been swirling that the man behind Ghost may have sat down with the network to talk about a brand new agreement. Nothing official has been confirmed yet, but the whispers are too loud to ignore. When people close to the production leak even the smallest detail, fans latch onto it, dissecting every word, every clue, as if it's evidence in a trial. And, in this case, the trial is whether Ghost's resurrection is coming in Power Book 4 Season 3 or through some other Power Universe chapter. To understand why these rumors matter so much, you have to think about Omari's history with the role. After leaving Power at the end of Season 6, he spoke openly about the challenges and rewards of playing Ghost. He admitted it took a toll on him, mentally and physically, but he also confessed it was the role of a lifetime. Fans could tell. He loved and respected the character, even when he was critical of certain story decisions. And then there were those tantalizing interviews where he hinted that he would only return under the right circumstances if the timing was correct, if the story was powerful enough. And, yes, if the contract was worth it. That last point is important. Omari has built a strong career outside of Power, appearing in films, streaming projects, and other series, so he doesn't need to return. But if the right deal is placed on the table, if Starz sees the value of his comeback, then everything could change overnight. Fans are quick to point out how central Ghost is to the Power universe. Even as new spin-offs like Raising Kanan, Power Book 2, Ghost, and Force expand the world, the foundation remains James St. Patrick. Bringing him back would not only satisfy fan cravings, but also skyrocket ratings networks are well aware of. A Ghost return would be more than a storyline. It would be a marketing event, a cultural moment. Every headline would scream about it, every podcast would debate it, and every viewer, even those who left after Season 6, would tune in. Again, that kind of hype is priceless. Which is why the idea of Omari negotiating a new contract feels not just like a rumor, but like a business strategy waiting to happen. The whispers about his return have also been fueled by timing. Power Book 4 Season 3 is in motion, and fans know Tommy's journey is at a crucial point. If there were ever a perfect season to reintroduce Ghost, whether in flashbacks, visions, or in the flesh, this is it. The emotional stakes are high, and Tommy's world is fragile. A sudden reappearance by Ghost would add the kind of twist the show thrives on. When leaks began suggesting that Omari's team had been in quiet talks, the theory started to feel less like wishful thinking and more like preparation. If a deal is in the works, it's the kind of information that would be kept under wraps until the show is ready to deliver its big punch. But let's not ignore the other side. It's possible that these rumors exist to stir excitement, to keep Ghost's name alive in the conversation. Sometimes, the very idea of a contract negotiation is enough to keep the audience hooked. Producers know the power of mystery by allowing speculation to run wild. They maintain energy around the brand, even if the truth is less dramatic. Imagine if Omari did sit down with the network, but the talk wasn't about returning as Ghost. What if it was about a new project, a spin-off, or even behind the scenes consulting on the character's future in the franchise? That possibility is just as intriguing because it suggests Ghost could live on in unexpected ways. Still, for many fans, nothing less than a full return will be satisfying. They want to see Omari in the suit again, walking through the nightclub, pulling the strings, maybe even confronting Tommy one more time. The contract rumors have become a lifeline for that dream. Every tweet, every blog post, every fan video repeats the same question: is Ghost back? And the longer the network stays silent, the stronger the hope grows. Silence, in this case, is not denial. Silence is suspense. At its heart, the excitement around Omari's rumored contract is about closure. Viewers never felt they got a complete ending for Ghost. His story was cut off, and in many ways, the spin-offs have been dancing around that hole ever since. A return, even a brief one, would bring balance back to the universe. It would tie loose ends, reignite rivalries, and restore the essence of what made Power so addictive. And if a signature on a piece of paper can make that happen, then fans are right to cling to every whisper. Because in the Power universe, nothing is ever truly Finish not love, not betrayal, and certainly not Ghost. If Ghost really is coming back, then there's no better stage for his reappearance than Power Book for Season 3. This is Tommy's show, his empire, his war zone. But at its core, Tommy's entire journey has always been tied to Ghost. From the very first episode of Power, Tommy wasn't just a partner in crime, he was Ghost's brother, his shadow, his soldier, and sometimes his fiercest rival. Removing Ghost from Tommy's life was like pulling the foundation out from under a skyscraper. Tommy has been standing tall, but always unstable, and Season 3 is shaping up to be the point where that instability either destroys him or transforms him. And that's exactly why Ghost's rumored return makes so much sense here, season. To have force ended with Tommy building his own empire in Chicago, but it's clear he's fighting a war on too many fronts. He's got rivals trying to tear him down, family issues that never leave him alone, and ghosts of the past that keep clawing their way into his mind. The city doesn't trust him yet, and every move he makes could be his last. Tommy is strong, no doubt, but he's also reckless, emotional, and lonely in ways he doesn't admit. Ghost was always the one who balanced him, sometimes by pulling him back, sometimes by outsmarting him, and sometimes by betraying him when it suited his own ambition. Without Ghost, Tommy is raw power with no governor, and that makes him dangerous. Not only to others, but also to himself. Now imagine the impact if Ghost suddenly appeared in this world again. Even if it's not a full comeback, even if it's just a vision, a hallucination, or a shocking encounter, it would shake Tommy to his core. For a man who lives by loyalty, Ghost's death was the ultimate betrayal, but also the deepest wound. Bringing Ghost back in any form forces Tommy to confront everything he's been avoiding, his past, his mistakes, and the truth about their brotherhood. The writers know this. They know that inserting Ghost into Tommy's story isn't just fan service, it's emotional dynamite. It would transform Tommy's arc from a lone wolf building an empire into a man facing the one ghost he can't outrun. Thematically, Force is all about carving out identity. Tommy is in a new city, fighting to prove that he's more than just Ghost's sidekick. But the irony is that every step he takes is still measured against Ghost's legacy. The people he meets compare him to his old partner. The choices he makes echo the ones Ghost once made. And the empire he's trying to build feels like a mirror image of what Ghost had back in New York. It's like Tommy's chasing Ghost even when he doesn't admit it. If Omari Hardwick does return, the tension writes itself. Is Tommy ready to finally step out of Ghost's shadow? Or is he doomed to be haunted by it forever? There's also the bigger picture to think about. The Power universe thrives on interconnected stories. Tariq's journey in Book 2. Ghost constantly links back to his father and raising Kanan dives into the past that shaped the entire family. If Ghost comes back in Force, it won't just be about Tommy. It would ripple across the whole universe, forcing Tariq, Tasha, and even Kanan's narrative into new territory. A single appearance could change everything. Fans would start connecting dots, asking how Ghost survived, what he's been doing, and how his return affects the power struggle in Chicago and New York. Suddenly, the Power universe has a brand new thread of suspense that ties all the spin-offs together again. Of course, we can't forget one of the juiciest possibilities, Ghost returning not as Tommy's ally, but as his rival. Think about it. If Ghost has been alive this whole time, hiding in the shadows, building something of his own, then his reappearance could spark a war. Tommy might not welcome him back with open arms. He might see him as a threat. And fans know that when Ghost and Tommy go head-to-head, it's some of the best storytelling the franchise has ever delivered. Loyalty, betrayal, revenge, those are the ingredients that made Power explosive, and that could set Force Season 3 on fire. And even if Ghost doesn't return in the flesh, the show has endless ways to use him. He could appear in flashbacks, filling in missing pieces of the past that shaped Tommy's decisions today. He could appear in Tommy's mind, a phantom voice giving advice or stirring rage. Or he could be revealed in rumors within the Chicago streets whispers that the great James St. Patrick is not as dead as everyone thought. Each of these options keeps the audience glued, because the idea of Ghost's return is sometimes just as powerful as the return itself. In the end, Force is about Tommy, but Tommy without Ghost is like a story missing its heart, whether Omari Hardwick officially returns or not. Ghost hovers over every scene, every choice, every battle. And Season 3 feels like the season where that haunting becomes impossible to ignore. If the contract rumors are true, then Ghost's comeback will be more than just a surprise. It will be the turning point that changes the Power universe forever. Would you like me to go ahead and craft section for Ghost origins and spin-off potential next in the same style? Around 4,000 characters, keeping the energy and suspense. You said, start with section for more unique 4,000 character. Chat said, perfect. Let's keep the flow going. Here's section 4, Ghost origins and spin-off potential, written in long, suspenseful, and unique storytelling form. Around 4,000 characters. Section 4, Ghost origins and spin-off potential. When fans hear whispers about Ghost returning, most immediately picture James St. Patrick stepping back into the present-day chaos of the Power universe. But what if the real surprise isn't Ghost walking back into Tommy's world or Tariq's struggles? What if the return takes us in the opposite direction? What if Ghost's story comes alive again, not in the future, but in the past? That's where the idea of a Ghost origin series comes in, and it's one of the most intriguing directions the Power universe could take, because let's face it, for all the years we watched James St. Patrick juggle family, crime, and ambition, we've only ever seen part of his journey. We know the man, but we don't fully know the boy who became him, the young hustler who transformed into the ruthless yet calculated Ghost. An origin story would peel back those layers and show us how legends are truly made. Think about how Raising Kanan has captured fans' attention. By going back to the 1990s, the series has given us a raw look at Kanan Stark's early years, and in doing so, it has deepened our understanding of his choices in the original Power, an origin story. For Ghost could do the same, and maybe even more. Imagine seeing young James in Queens, meeting Tommy as a teenager, struggling with poverty, and first tasting the dangerous allure of the streets. The seeds of betrayal, loyalty, and ambition could all be planted there, and fans would finally witness how the iconic duo began. We'd get to see the bond that carried them into adulthood and the cracks that were always waiting to split them apart. But here's where it gets even more interesting. If Omari Hardwick is indeed negotiating a new deal, his role in an origin series might not mean playing the young Ghost again. Instead, it could be something more creative and symbolic. Perhaps he narrates the story, his older self reflecting on the choices that built and broke him. His voice guiding the show would not only legitimize the prequel, but also keep his presence alive, even as a younger actor steps into the role of teenage James St. Patrick. In this way, Omari could return to the universe in a powerful capacity, without rewriting the finality of Ghost's death in the main timeline. That kind of comeback would be subtle yet monumental. Another possibility is blending past and present together. What if Ghost's origin story doesn't just play out as a standalone prequel but is woven into Force or even Book 2, Ghost through flashbacks and hidden memories? The shows could alternate between young James learning the game and present-day characters discovering secrets about his past. This structure would not only satisfy fans' hunger for Ghost but also enrich the ongoing storylines, showing how the past continues to shape the present. For instance, Tariq might uncover hidden truths about his father's teenage years, learning lessons that guide or haunt his own choices. Tommy could revisit his memories, forcing him to face how long Ghost had been planning his empire. Every revelation in the past could ripple into the future. There's also the business side of things. Starz knows that Ghost is the franchise's golden name. Attaching origins to his story is like guaranteeing attention. Whether it's Omari's full return, his narration, or simply the dramatization of his youth, the network understands. that Ghost sells. It's not just about fan service, it's about longevity. A Ghost origin series ensures the Power universe keeps expanding without losing the heartbeat that started it all. Even if the original Ghost is gone, the brand lives on through his name. And if Omari signs on, the legitimacy of the series skyrockets. Fans won't feel like they're just watching a spin-off. They'll feel like they're still connected to the man who made the universe what it is. When fans hear whispers about Ghost returning, most immediately picture James St. Patrick stepping back into the present-day chaos of the Power universe. But what if the real surprise isn't Ghost walking back into Tommy's world or Tariq's struggles? What if the return takes us in the opposite direction? What if Ghost's story comes alive again, not in the future, but in the past? That's where the idea of a Ghost origin series comes in. And it's one of the most intriguing directions the Power universe could take, because let's face it, for all the years we watched James St. Patrick juggle family, crime, and ambition, we've only ever seen part of his journey. We know the man, but we don't fully know the boy who became him, the young hustler who transformed into the ruthless yet calculated Ghost. An origin story would peel back those layers and show us how legends are truly made. Think about how Raising Kanan has captured fans' attention. By going back to the 1990s, the series has given us a raw look at Kanan Stark's early years, and in doing so, it has deepened our understanding of his choices in the original Power. An origin story for Ghost could do the same, and maybe even more. Imagine seeing young James in Queens, meeting Tommy as a teenager, struggling with poverty, and first tasting the dangerous allure of the streets. The seeds of betrayal, loyalty, and ambition could all be planted there, and fans would finally witness how the iconic duo began. We'd get to see the bond that carried them into adulthood and the cracks that were always waiting to split them apart. But here's where it gets even more interesting. If Omari Hardwick is indeed negotiating a new deal, his role in an origin series might not mean playing the young Ghost again. Instead, it could be something more creative and symbolic. Perhaps he narrates the story, his older self reflecting on the choices that built and broke him. His voice guiding the show would not only legitimize the prequel, but also keep his presence alive, even as a younger actor steps into the role of teenage James St. Patrick. In this way, Omari could return to the universe in a powerful capacity, without rewriting the finality of Ghost's death in the main timeline. That kind of comeback would be subtle yet monumental. Another possibility is blending past and present together. What if Ghost's origin story doesn't just play out as a standalone prequel but is woven into Force or even Book 2, Ghost through flashbacks and hidden memories? The shows could alternate between young James learning the game and present-day characters discovering secrets about his past. This structure would not only satisfy fans' hunger for Ghost but also enrich the ongoing storylines, showing how the past continues to shape the present. For instance, Tariq might uncover hidden truths about his father's teenage years, learning lessons that guide or haunt his own choices. Tommy could revisit his memories, forcing him to face how long Ghost had been planning his empire. Every revelation in the past could ripple into the future. There's also the business side of things. Starz knows that Ghost is the franchise's golden name. Attaching origins to his story is like guaranteeing attention. Whether it's Omari's full return, his narration, or simply the dramatization of his youth, the network understands that Ghost sells. It's not just about fan service, it's about longevity. A Ghost origin series ensures the Power universe keeps expanding without losing the heartbeat that started it all. Even if the original Ghost is gone, the brand lives on through his name, and if Omari signs on, the legitimacy of the series skyrockets. Fans won't feel like they're just watching a spin-off. They'll feel like they're still connected to the man who made the universe what it is. Of course, there's always the wildcard theory that Origins could serve as both a prequel and a doorway to reveal that Ghost's story isn't finished in the present either. The writers could weave a narrative where the past explains the mysteries of the present, maybe even dropping clues that suggest Ghost staged his death with inspiration from lessons learned in his early years. That kind of twist would send fans into overdrive, connecting every thread across time. The idea of Ghost origins works on multiple levels. It's nostalgic, it's dramatic, and it gives writers the chance to reinvent the character without undoing his tragic ending. Whether it's Omari stepping back into the role, lending his voice, or simply blessing the project with his involvement, it feels like the natural next step. Because no matter how many new characters and new stories the Power universe creates, it always circles back to one truth. Ghost is the beginning, and maybe he's also the key to the future. When it comes to Ghost, no single character in the Power universe has inspired more debate, speculation, and late-night theories than James St. Patrick. His death in Power Season 6 didn't end the conversation, it ignited it. And as the years have gone by, fan theories have only grown wilder, more creative, and, in some cases, more convincing. With the recent talk of Omari Hardwick negotiating a return, these theories are no longer just harmless speculation. They're starting to feel like roadmaps for what could actually happen. The most popular fan theory has always been that Ghost never really died. Yes, we saw him shot in Truth nightclub. Yes, we saw his funeral. But Power fans know this universe thrives on deception. The absence of a true body reveal left just enough wiggle room for viewers to believe Ghost faked his death. According to this theory, Ghost staged a shooting, used his political connections, and slipped into hiding to rebuild his empire in secret. Some even argue that his funeral was a staged event, carefully constructed to protect his family while he plotted a larger comeback. If this is true, then Season 3 could be the perfect place for Ghost to re-emerge alive, sharper, and more dangerous than ever. Another strong theory ties Ghost's return not to survival but to the psychological scars he left behind. Tommy, in particular, could be haunted by visions of his old partner. These wouldn't just be random hallucinations. They'd serve as storytelling tools. Ghost could appear as the voice of doubt in Tommy's head, the figure reminding him of loyalty, betrayal, and everything in between. Fans love this theory because it allows Omari Hardwick to return without undermining the realism of his death. Ghost as a phantom or guiding spirit keeps his influence alive while respecting the narrative finality of his ending. It also fits with the show's title Ghost because even when he's gone, he lingers. Some fans connect Ghost's possible return to Tariq's arc in Book 2, Ghost. They believe that Tariq, as much as he resents his father, will eventually need him again, if not physically, then emotionally or symbolically. The theory goes that Tariq might stumble on journals, recordings, or hidden messages left by Ghost, guiding him through the same streets and struggles his father once ruled. This wouldn't just tie the spin-off to its roots. It would create a powerful father-son bond that transcends death. For fans who always felt Tariq betrayed Ghost too easily, this theory provides a form of redemption. Then there are the bold predictions about a Ghost double life. Some argue that Ghost had deeper ties to federal agencies, witness protection, or underground networks than we ever knew. Maybe he cut a secret deal to escape prison time and disappear, which explains why his presence still looms so heavily over the universe. If this were true, his reappearance wouldn't just be personal, it would be political. Ghost could come back with new power, new enemies, and new leverage that shakes not only Tommy's empire but also Tariq's growing role in the game. This theory excites fans because it takes Ghost beyond just survival. It turns him into a larger-than-life figure who reinvented himself yet again. Of course, predictions vary wildly depending on which corner of the Power universe fans favor. For Force fans, Ghost's return means unfinished business with Tommy, either as an uneasy reunion or as a brutal rivalry. For Book 2, Ghost fans, it means Tariq facing his father in ways he's not ready for. For Raising Kanan fans, it sparks the idea that the past and present could collide, perhaps revealing connections between young Ghost, Tommy, and Kanan that reshape everything we thought we knew. And for those who just want closure, Ghost's return in any form means peace of mind that the man who built this empire wasn't erased so abruptly. but given a proper send-off or a new chapter, predictions for Force Season 3 are especially fiery. Some fans insist Ghost will appear in the final moments of the season, walking out of the shadows to confront Tommy, leaving viewers on the ultimate cliffhanger. Others predict he will first appear in Whisper's characters mentioning sightings, rumors spreading in the streets before finally being revealed. And there are those who believe Omari Hardwick's role will be smaller but significant, perhaps just one episode that changes everything. The beauty of these predictions is that they all keep the same heartbeat alive. Ghost is not finished. His story isn't over.